Devices running out of power? I have two different solutions for us to check out. Dave Taylor here, and I travel with a lot of devices, which means I'm endlessly trying to figure out how to charge things. So I have my Google Pixel 9, I have my Apple iPhone 17 Pro. They're all power hungry. They all end up needing to be charged, which means that I'm endlessly in this cycle of trying to figure out where am I going to get the charge from. Enter LISEN. They sent me a couple of different products that solve the problem in different ways in different settings. The first one is this very slick and very small 54-watt car charger. As you can see in the close-up, it has USB-A offering Quick Charge 3.0 and USB-C with power delivery. But not only did they send me one, the box actually contains two, which is perfect because my daughter said, "Ooh, I need a new car charger." So there we go. Problem solved. They also sent me, and let me push the button on the side here. They sent me this. This is the LISEN 7,000 milliamp hour mini portable power bank. I'm going to pop this off. It has built-in USB-C and it has a display that shows you the charging status. So let's start with the car charger. And to do that, let's go jump into my car. I'm in my Chevy Trax and it has 12 volt right here, but it also has a wireless Qi charging pad. So there's actually a lot of ways I can charge in the car already. It also has USB-C and USB-A, but maybe I'm really hungry for charging a lot of devices. Enter the LISEN unit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in the 12 volt and we're going to push it all the way in. And that's nice. It's pretty darn sleek. And then I'm going to actually use a USB-A to USB-C cable. So we'll plug that one in. And then I also have a USB-C to USB-C cable. So I'll plug that one in. Now we can't really go any further without starting the car. So let me do that. The Google Pixel line tells you whether you're getting a fast charge or not, which I find really helpful. So let's start by plugging in the USB-A to USB-C cable. So this is the USB-A charger from the LISEN unit. And on the bottom, it is showing me that it is charging, but it's not fast charging. So this is definitely a lower wattage plug. This is 18 watts according to them. So let's switch it to the USB-C, which they rate at 36 watts maximum. And now, let's see what the Pixel says. So now it says fast charging. So that's really great. So this is going to just be charging along. And while that's going on, let's go ahead and grab my iPhone 17 Pro, and I'm going to plug it into the slower power plug. And that is the USB-A. So it's also charging now. It actually is in driving mode because, of course, I have my car running. But so we now have both phones charging simultaneously off of this. So that's pretty nice. And the question is, has this dropped down from fast charging? And the answer is that, let's see, we're going to wait till it comes up at the bottom. It has not. So this is still delivering a fast charge to the Pixel, while it's also simultaneously charging the iPhone. So very nice. The only other thing I want to demonstrate is that if I unplug the cables, that some people have said this is a little tricky to pull out, but I find pulls out just fine. And so there's our unit, and it is delivering simultaneous charging to two different devices right out of my 12 volt adapter. That's pretty ideal. This really worked exactly as I would have hoped. So the USB-A is using Quick Charge 3.0 as its protocol, and it can max out at 18 watts. So what is Quick Charge 3? We'll get to that in a second. The USB-C plug is actually using power delivery protocol, and it can max out at 36 watts, which is plenty enough to give a fast charge to any modern mobile device. And what are these protocols? They are a way that devices can negotiate with power sources to get the maximum amount of wattage, but no more. So if you have an old phone, it's going to deliver the lowest possible wattage that it can. So probably it'll be like 8 watts or 10 watts or something. But on a more modern device like the Pixel, it's going to be able to say, oh, hey, you actually seem to have a lot of wattage. I can take up to whatever it is, 22.5 watts, I think is where the Pixels are. So I can take up to 22 watts. Now on that USB-A, it's maxed out at 18 watts, so it couldn't deliver all of that. But the USB-C, as we saw, can deliver up to 36 watts, which means that it was able to do a fast charge, giving this the maximum possible power, which is pretty sweet. So that worked really well, and it's a super small and sleek device, and this is aluminum, so it's not plastic. You don't have to worry about it melting or smelling weird. In fact, this is UL approved, so it has gone through some rigorous testing to make sure that it's not going to be any sort of a hazard in your vehicle. So I have complete confidence I can leave this in my car and charge all sorts of things really powerfully and get the maximum possible optimal charge for multiple devices. So nicely done with that. It also comes in black or a striking copper color or really cool dark red. So really nice colors. I wish companies wouldn't just keep sending me black devices, but that's what you get. Now, this one's also super interesting because, as I said, it does have that little tiny display. So this is the mini portable power bank, and it's 7,000 milliamp hours. Now, by comparison, the iPhone 17 Pro has a built-in 4,252 milliamp hour battery. So if you're doing the math, that means that this is 1.5 times the size of the iPhone battery. What this means is that it can definitely take your phone from 0 to 100%. And that's important because a lot of devices will get like close, but then you don't get that last 10%. Maybe it doesn't matter in a lot of situations, but honestly, if you're going to plug it in, why not get that extra charge? Now, here's a little secret that I found that was pretty slick. So first off, let's go ahead and I'm going to plug this in to my iPhone. And so my iPhone immediately shows that it's charging, but this display now shows that it has 56% charge available. But here's the thing that I don't know that anyone else has realized, and I'm sure the company knows this, but the USB-C on the side for charging this also is an output. So I can take my little wire, and at the same time as I'm charging the iPhone, I'm also now charging the Pixel. So this means that if you're using this to charge your phone or your tablet or something, and a friend comes along and says, I got a cable, I got a really dead phone, is there any way I can borrow some charge? You can charge them in addition, rather than having to unplug this. That also solves the problem of, oh, well, I don't have USB-C on my device. Like an older iPhone might have Lightning. As long as they have the right cable to plug into USB-C on the side, I'm charging both of these devices simultaneously off of this single unit. Now, it is going to work better and faster if I unplug this and just let it do its thing. So I should also talk about the fact that it is heavy. This is a little of a sort of clunky, clumsy thing. The connection, the USB-C, is pretty solid, so you can see it's not bouncing or jiggling as I move the phone. But this will be pretty fatiguing pretty quickly if you're going to be holding your phone like this and using it. So I'm not sure I would recommend that as a long-term strategy, but certainly doing it like this and letting it charge for 15 or 20 minutes while you're doing something else, which brings me to how much does it charge? So I plugged it into my phone for 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes, I got a 28% charge. So that means that I can get about an 80% charge in an hour. Now, it's not exact math because charging is faster or slower depending on how empty the battery is. You probably noticed this. If you're at 0, it seems like it just leaps up to 30% really fast. But if you're at 80, getting up to 100 can take just as long, if not longer, because it's trying to manage its battery charge so that the battery has better lifespan. So, it's not a straight linear sort of progression on charge, but this thing has plenty of juice coming in at a nice, powerful amount. And while we're here and while we're testing things, let's plug it into the Android device and see if we are getting fast charging. So sure enough, on the bottom, it says that it's fast charging. So again, we're getting a nice strong wattage coming out of the device. I really like LISEN. They actually sent me other devices, but it just felt overwhelming to look at all of them. So these two are very representative of what the company has, and they are all very affordable. In fact, these are humorously affordable, which means you're saying, all right, well, how much are they? Before we get there, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon for notifications of my new content, and give me a thumbs up if you found this of value. Excellent. Great. All right, we're going to start with this. So these two are the LISEN 54-watt car charger, and it comes in this black or copper or red, and they are two in the box for $14.99, currently discounted down to $9.99 for two of these. That's less than you would pay at the cash register at 7-Eleven for one that's not very good. And these are really nice. So super good deal, super good price. And the other device we're looking at here is this. This is the LISEN 7,000 milliamp hour mini portable power bank. Comes in this dark gray or white. The white's pretty smart looking. This dark gray or white, and it is $26.99, currently discounted down to $23.99 at, you guessed it, Amazon.com. The only comment I will make about this one is I have a feeling that if I use this a lot, I would probably just pull off and remove the rubber connector, but you might keep it on because it obviously does keep it clean and safe when you're not using it. There's a button on the side, and when you push it, you get that update on how much charge it has, which is super nice. And that's what I got. I'm going to plug my devices in, get them up to 85% is probably plenty good enough to have long-term battery life. And then I'm going to get on with my day. So, hope to catch you in my next video.